Ruled out of Sunday's game against the Bills. We got a live report from Miami as we discuss the Dolphins QB reality this offseason. Speaking of quarterback health, what's the latest on Lamar? Well, the Ravens quarterback, his status is coming your way ahead of their game against the Bengals. It's just about 8 minutes away. We'll hear from Adam Schefter on that. Far more important, though, than all of this is the improving condition of Damar Hamlin. That's where we start today, as Hamlin has been discharged from a hospital in Buffalo. Coley Harvey's been covering the story for the last 10 days here. Coley, what's the latest?
Well, the latest, Laura, is that just a short time ago, I had a chance to speak with one of Damar Hamlin's relatives. They are, quote, ecstatic about this news. They are so rejoicing about this news. The fact that he is finally not just out of one hospital, the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, but now the second hospital, Buffalo General Medical Center. And the relative who I spoke to earlier, that relative said that they were certainly trying to wait until they got to this stage because there was that uncertainty after having to switch one hospital and going to the other. Just what was that going to look like for his recovery? But now he is fully out. He is at home, and he is resting, as we've heard even from some of the Bills players say here today. They're going to try to be patient in terms of trying to go over and see him. One thing that I do want to note is you see this plaza here behind me at Highmark Stadium. Exactly 1 week ago, there was a candlelight vigil for Damar Hamlin. You had fans coming all throughout here in order to lift him up in prayer, to try to get the positive vibes, to get him out of the hospital. What a difference a week makes. While we've been out here setting up this live shot, I've even seen one of these remnants, a fan that says the number 3 with the heart. You're going to see so many of these on Sunday when this place gets full and rocking, because not only is it a playoff game, as you guys well know, but they're going to be playing for Damar Hamlin as well here.
Coley, it's just such incredible news. Great reporting from you. And we can get excited about this, guys. We're glad to have you here. Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky with you for the hour.
Good to have you back.
I missed y'all.
Yes.
But
you crushed your college football national title stuff, but we love Babyface.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm also so incredibly glad, as all of us are, that Damar Hamlin's making such great progress.
I mean, it's the best news of the NFL world. Probably the best news
ever.
of the year. Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
Amazing.
Keyshawn Johnson and Adam Schefter joining us today as well. Let's get to Tua Tagovailoa, some news there. And let me start with this, right? The Dolphins 8-4 in games that Tua has finished. They're 1-4 without him. Tua suffered 3 head injuries this season, 2 officially classified as concussions by the NFL. He hadn't played since the concussion he suffered against the Packers on Christmas Day. Some wondered if we'd see him this week against Buffalo. Here's more from Mike McDaniel.
Of today, Tua has not been cleared by doctors to resume football activities on the field with his teammates. So, because of that and because of the time that he's missed, I can rule him out for Sunday. We will be approaching the game today as Skylar Thompson as our starting quarterback.
ESPN Dolphins reporter we're going to Adam Schefter with more here. So, Adam, what can you tell us? Actually, we're going to go to Marcel. Marcel, Adam's coming. Marcel first. Marcel Louis-Jacques has been at the facility all day. Marcel, what did the team have to say about the Tua news?
Oh, it looked pretty out there.
Yeah, it's appearance number 7 and start number 3 for the Dolphins rookie, Skylar Thompson. And half of those have come in relief of a starter who was injured mid-game. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said he doesn't think people appreciate the gravity of what Thompson was able to accomplish, relying on solo or scout team and preseason reps before Sunday's regular season finale. We got to speak to Skylar Thompson in the locker room. He said that every snap he takes, he gets more and more confident. And that, of course, he wants to be perfect. That's what everybody wants to do in this position. But he went back to something his college coach told him. Colin Klein, the quarterback coach at Kansas State, your best is enough. Now, the team believes in him, and Thompson's actually got a support system that's going to go beyond the sideline Sunday at Highmark Stadium. He said his dad is going to make the 15-hour drive from Kansas City to Buffalo to see his son make his first playoff start. A lot of emotions going to be at that stadium in Western New York.
Yeah, those 15 hours, Marcel, would probably go by pretty quick for Dad there. Thanks so much for the latest on the Dolphins. And before we chat about this as it relates to Tua, guys, I just want to make something clear. We all know that Tua was having an MVP caliber season when he was healthy. We praised him exceptionally on this show during that stretch. But still, the NFL is a brutal business. Marcus, what do you make of the Tua news?
Yeah, first of all, very unfortunate, right, based on what you just said. And Skylar Thompson is starting. Look, it was going to be hard for the Miami Dolphins to beat the Buffalo Bills anyway with Tua starting in this game. But I think the other part comes into play. And this is where, I'm glad I'm me. Because the reality is Tua and his career should be a discussion this offseason between him and his family, all right? And the Miami Dolphins have to be in the market for a quarterback, right? And that's so unfortunate. But based on the things that we saw transpire this year with Tua, health is going to be the number one thing that they talk about. I think Tua proved that he's an NFL quarterback. I think he proved that this system works for him as well. But also, he missed a lot of games, and there are some serious conversations that got to come from Chris Greer and this management. And there's some serious conversations that has to go between Tua and his family.
Yeah, for the team, I think it's disappointing because, candidly, it felt like a Super Bowl caliber football team 100%. This year, the way they were playing. Marcus, I think Tua has to answer the question if he's ever going to play football again. I don't think that's totally out of the question.
It's not, man. It can be.
Those are real conversations, right? With the team, it's very difficult to sit there. I love Tua. I've championed Tua, praised him. It's really difficult to sit there and say, that's our guy. Yeah. Because not only does he have the injury history that is always going to hang over his head from college, now there's this new injury kind of narrative around his name. Yeah. And I don't know if an organization could sit there that's been searching for the quarterback and say, that's the guy that he has the ankles, he has the hip, and then the 3 concussions this year, 2 that we know of and 1 that assumed, that weren't off these old-fashioned, oh my goodness hits either. And I don't disagree that organizationally, they're going to have that conversation this offseason, which stinks.
These are always tough conversations to have because you're talking about another person's health, but we also played in the NFL, so we know how important it is to stay healthy in the National Football League, to not only be on the field with your team, but also be able to get what we like to call the bag, the money. And he's yet to be able to do that to secure. Now, look, some people say, okay, he was a top first-round pick, he should have plenty of money. Yes, that is correct. That may be true. But his goals is to win championships and make a lot of money. But with that health concern that he has right now, much like you say, Dan, I feel the same way. Your health is number one. Football is way in the rearview mirror. It's something that you don't even pay attention to. And at the end, not only him, the Dolphins and his family, in the offseason, they've got to sit down and really look at this thing with real medical staff and study it to understand what this is. I played with enough players in the National Football League that was concussed and wind up not living a normal life at the end of the day. So that's not something that we want to see.
Yeah. No, it's well said.
You know what I think? I just thought of? I wonder if the Dolphins entertain Tua is going to be a guy that is going to contend for our starting job, and we're going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo. He knows our system.
Interesting.
And so you feel a high level of comfort no matter who the quarterback is.
The connection with Mike McDaniel certainly there from the time of the 49ers. All right, let's get to more quarterback news as it relates to some of these injuries. Lamar Jackson has been battling a PCL sprain, hadn't played in over a month. That was since December 4th. The Ravens had the Bengals on Sunday night. Now we're going to get Adam Schefter in here for real, okay? We saw a little preview of him earlier. Adam, what do we know about Lamar's availability this weekend?
Laura, it's 38 days now since Lamar Jackson was injured and no practice again today. This was always going to be a telltale day that would tell you a lot about whether or not he would be playing on Sunday night. The fact that he's not out there at practice at the start of the week tells you that this is tracking for Lamar Jackson not to play on Sunday night against the Bengals and for him to miss his 6th straight game. Certainly doesn't look like they'll have Lamar, and then the question becomes, will they even have Tyler Huntley, who's been battling shoulder tendonitis and wasn't throwing at practice today either, which would leave them back in the situation that they were in last week when they played in Cincinnati and the Baltimore Ravens had to turn to Anthony Brown to start. That's right now a prospect that certainly seems very real. We don't think that Lamar will be ready in time for Sunday night. It's been a week where there were people initially who thought, yeah, he's going to have a strong chance. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think he'll play. Heard a lot of different things leading into the weekend. And I think now, as the week has gone on and he's not practicing, I think it's crystallizing that he's not on track to play Sunday night.
Yeah, when Harbaugh was talking about it today in his press conference, he said, I have nothing to add. I think that also speaks to the situation that Adam's illustrating here. So Lamar, of course, still waiting on that long-term deal, right? But another Raven cashed in this week. Adam, what can you tell us about Roquan Smith's